All right, recording is started, and this is the October 31st, 2023 Rook Community Meeting. Happy Halloween, everybody. I don't see any costumes, but hopefully at least you have candy for folks to hand out, and you don't want any angry trick-or-treaters. Let's jump on into the milestone checkup here. So 1.11, got nothing planned there, so I don't think there's anything to talk about, nothing recent either. 1.12, there has been some recent activity. So since the last community meeting the 17th, we have two patch releases that have gone out, both the .6 and the .7. So let's take a quickie look at those and see if there's anything major that we'd want to call out for those, and then we'll look at the milestone coming up too.
With
Anything big to call
1.12.6, it was really just the biweekly release. I don't know that there's anything really to call out. Well, one I'll mention there, the second item, the Go module dependencies were significantly reduced by some work Blaine did to clean up the HashiCorp dependencies. It pulled in a whole bunch, cut our Go modules file almost in half. Well, from 3,500 down to 1,900 lines, something like that. So that was a nice Go module dependency cleanup.
Nice. But no functionality got removed from that. It was just, hey, updating our dependencies and tidying them up sort of thing, and not like functionality doesn't seem to be removed. No actual code got touched.
Exactly. Yeah, Blaine,
Yeah.
comments on that.
Interesting.
You had to make a small code change in their repo, one repo, but
yeah,
okay.
I made a contribution to one of our dependency repos to basically just change the code location where they were using Vault's API for like authentication.
Man, that had that much of an impact on the rest of the dependency graph.
Right.
Wow. Crazy.
Astounding.
Astounding. Cool. All right. Well, nice. Good to get that cleaned up. All right. And then nothing else major to call out here, but I assume then, though, that the closely following after .7 release has more things to mention, given the timeline on it.
Yeah. So the thing with this one, it was sooner than the 2-week cadence because we realized just after shipping .6 that there was a regression in .5 where the crash collector keyring, thought we could change the access on it without breaking anything, but it turns out it did break something in the crash collector ruiner cron job. Anyway, so we had to revert that and get the .7 release out to fix the crash collector cron job. Yep. So I thought we could use the crash profile like you see there, but had to revert it to allow RW for the manager component there.
Yep. It makes sense. And so then that patch got expedited out faster than the two weeks cadence. Then that was what was driving that one.
Exactly.
Yep. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I think those are the main things for those releases.
Okay. Then let's go ahead and also look at the 1.12 board to see what may be upcoming then for a 12.8 in a little bit more than a couple weeks still.
Yeah, I put the date as the 16th just to be after KubeCon, since I'll be there next week. Might be difficult to keep to the 2-week cadence unless somebody else wants to pick up doing that next week. As long as there's nothing urgent, at least I was proposing next week. But we can do it sooner if there is a need.
If needed. Yep. Okay. And
yeah, I just cleaned up this board a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the things
that
were in here as of this morning. Yeah, nothing's blocking. I moved a few things to the 1.13 board that are really features that just, it's time to move things on to the 1.13 board instead of 1.12. And then, so just a couple of bug fixes here. I think for that one in the to-do column for the object storage page in the dashboard, I think we're just waiting for a fix from Steph on that to test with. Hopefully the latest Quincy release will fix that. So we'll test that. I think Quincy is due out in any day now, or it didn't actually come out, did it? I saw the release nodes getting close to or merged. but I don't think I saw the was it .7 or .8? Anyway, whatever the latest Quincy release is, it's close if not out. So I need to test that. And 17.2.7. Oh, I do see that out 4 days ago. So yeah, we need to update and test that. See if that's fixed now. Yeah, so that's all I've got for 1.12.
All right. Yep. So let's look at 1.13 then. Main event coming up here in a little bit over a month, and see what we've got.
Yeah, I didn't do a real good review of this board. There's probably some more we can move to in progress, or and I think there's a couple of things we need to add to this board, like as a follow-up to the dependencies shrinking, the work that Blaine did. Also, we're looking at adding the Go modules back to the packages API subdirectory, so that dependent projects who are using the Rook API can have smaller Go dependencies. I've had a couple of requests for that. And yeah, we'll plan on that with the 1.13 here as well. And
Is it Travis, that isn't on the board though, or that is on the board and
I don't
not
think it's on the
seeing-
board yet.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
saying, yeah, I need to add that.
Cool.
And then, along with that change, actually I added it later in the agenda. I guess we'll get to it later, but like removing the webhooks, because we don't need that anymore. That goes along with that, using CEL instead of webhooks there, that's in progress. Saban was working on that.
What's the minimum version of like Kubernetes itself that is needed to support, CL validation sort of stuff instead of webhooks?
I think it's been out for a couple of versions. I can't remember exactly if it was 1.27 or which version, but the thing with the webhook too is it's disabled by default now, and it really has limited functionality anyway. We don't really gain much from our webhook currently. And so if they're using older Kubernetes, they wouldn't have that webhook feature, but they won't be missing much, is my view of it. So yeah,
Got
if
it.
there's something I'm forgetting and people really want to have the webhook, potentially we could keep it, but it will really help clean up our Go dependencies if we can remove it as well.
Have we had any problems historically with like the deployment of the webhook and its functionality? Like if people have, lockdown network policies or, get it with the certs that it needs and stuff like that?
The real problems we had were around certs.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely had
it was
that
a cert problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's why we
all
decided to disable it. And
yeah, the more built-in functionality we can use, like on the API paths and with the CRD extensions and blah blah blah, the better to not have to run a admission webhook, all that jazz. Cool, wonderful.
Yeah, I'll add this to the agenda doc, but I saw there's a release note from Kubernetes 1.25 that says the CEL support is in beta there. So
okay, so that's been a while.
And Blaine, that means on by default as well.
that I don't know.
I thought beta was on by default, but not alpha.
That's what I would expect. Yeah, is for beta. It's like to get, to get more usage of it. At least, yeah, because basically any feature within the control plane that has to be enabled, it's going to have limited adoption until it's on by default for people. Because a lot of people don't even have that option, with like managed service providers like a GKE or AKS. You can't just go turn on stuff typically, at least.
Exactly.
So cool. Yeah, hopefully it's on by default. We can just, take advantage of it, use it, and go. All right. Anything else to mention for 1.13 milestone?
I just back on the timeline, looking at the first week of December, was talking to this FCSI team today, and they're looking at the last week of November for their next CSI release. So if we do the first week of December, then that's just the right timeline to get that latest CSI included at the same time. Yeah. Yeah, that was 3.10 for FCSI. Yep.
You beat me to it.
Trying to help you out.
Yep, thank you, sir. So it seems like it works well, timing wise. The last week in November is that not Thanksgiving for they're doing a release in Thanksgiving or
It's an early Thanksgiving this year, so
Thanksgiving's coming early this year, is it?
it's the 23rd, and so
Oh,
they
that's
were looking
kinda
at the
early.
30th,
Right.
the 30th for their release.
Okay.
And yeah,
the week after, yeah. So there's basically a full week in November still after Thanksgiving. Oh, that's not too typical, but cool. Okay. Right on.
Yep. Cool. Any feedback on that timeline or?
Sounds reasonable to me.
Done. Okay.
All right. And cool. And then so that should be everything for milestones. Anything else folks want to bring up for releases? All right. KubeCon is next week. No, so I talked to somebody yesterday who did not yet have their travel plans, as in, hotel and flights and stuff like that. So
Good luck.
Hopefully everyone on this call has that covered.
Yes. Yep. Got that planned. Looks like we have a nice commute, like a half-hour bus ride to get to the conference center, but that'll be an adventure.
Yeah. Well, I guess depending
downtown.
on where you're staying, that is, I suppose. Yes, I do have a commute as well. I'm further north as well, which I assume a lot of people are.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, just a couple quick notes. Just
where do they arrive to? Like
so Mike Perez ordered them, shipped them to me, so I will bring them.
To you.
Yes, so we can have them in the booth. That's the only swag we have. We need more. We need to figure out where to get swag budget so we can have t-shirts again. That's what gets people excited, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So it'll be maybe a low-key conference for us without t-shirts, but Maintainers Talk is ready to go with Annette and Dmitry Mishin. Yep, it's all looking good.
Fantastic. Glad to have that done. I don't know what the bell curve looks like for speakers getting their talks ready ahead of KubeCon, but I imagine that there's still a tail end to that bell curve that is not done yet. I can imagine. Speaking from personal
we talked through our slides. Yeah, I need to still upload the slides to their platform, but I guess I should do that. Their deadline supposedly is tomorrow, but they never seem to actually cut it off. They just want people to upload it.
All right.
At some point.
Yeah, they upload it afterwards is still going to be accepted as well. There's not a problem with that. A deadline, schmedline, I say, Travis. All right. So yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys in Chicago as well, for sure.
Yeah, great. Stop by the Rook booth. You'll be in the Crossplane booth, I guess.
Yeah. At times on Tuesday, I don't have any booth duty at all because I have 3 talks. So I am completely swamped that day with probably not my sanity even left either.
3 talks in one day.
Yeah. Wednesday looks good though. Wednesday's going to be a brighter day, I think.
Then you can relax after Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Yeah, so this change then, I already mentioned it earlier, related to the 1.13 release, adding the Go modules back to the API's subdirectory, and it'll just help people with the dependencies. I don't know if there's anything else we need to say about it other than still need to, well, the only reason I've been waiting on it is trying to figure out, well, can we test it with the Dependabot in any way before we merge? But I don't think there is, so we'll just merge it and then figure out Dependabot again after. The whole reason we reverted this a couple months ago was because we couldn't get it to work with Dependabot, but Subham had another idea on how to fix that, so we'll try again.
And it's possible
After-
that we merge this and we don't yet know if Shabam's idea is going to work because we have not been able to test it yet. Is that what you're saying, Travis?
Right, because the PRs that the dependent bot opens, it would need to update the Go modules in the subdirectory as well, and so figuring out how to get dependent bot to do that is the problem.
Got it.
Otherwise, we have to kind of update our dependencies manually or manually update the dependent bot PRs, which is doable, but it's just a pain.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Investigating compatibility with dependent bot then is what that note is about. Okay.
Yes.
And then removing the admission controller, we kind of touched on that already with taking
Yep,
the
that one too.
CL approach instead.
Exactly.
And then Blaine, you added these notes here about it being in beta in 1.25. Did you, Blaine, did you also see if these resources mentioned if it's on by default?
They didn't seem to say either way. I assume that means that they are enabled by default, because I think otherwise they would mention having to make changes to the like kubelet flags.
Right.
I also have not like super thoroughly like dug in.
Yeah, I think our minimum version for Rook will be Kubernetes 1.23 now, which it's 1.25 is close enough to just say if you want that validation, use 1.25.
Yeah.
Is there a critical scenario or a key scenario that folks are using the validation for to prevent bad inputs?
Not that I can think of. That's some basic checks. Maybe nice to haves, but nothing critical.
Yeah, I think some good candidates would be things like making certain fields immutable. Like I think there's at least one field in like in the Ceph block pool that users really shouldn't be able to modify. And my big understanding of the CEL is that it should allow us to specify that a field is immutable.
Got it. Cool. All right. Anything else then that did not make it to the agenda doc? All right, then sounds like we will see each other in Chicago then. All righty, cool.
Safe travels.
Yep, safe travels to all. Good to see you today. See you next week.
All right,
Bye,
thanks.
guys.
Bye.
Yeah.